What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we are going to take a look at some of the best places to live in the Phoenix metropolitan area, also known as the Valley of the Sun. And the first spot we're going to hit is just south of Camelback Mountain. It is actually our oldest community on this list. It's known as Arcadia. As you can see, it sits right next to Scottsdale to the west. So it's in between Scottsdale and Phoenix. But this is an old orchard area. It had plenty of citrus trees that used to grow out here, like I said, at the base of Camelback Mountain. So the climate is a fairly moderate, mild climate, but it's very green in this area. Lots of big trees and solid growth. The homes in this area are older, and they're also modernizing the area, so you'll see a lot of construction where they're taking the older structures and kind of renovating, rebuilding, and in some cases tearing down and building a whole new structure altogether. Next up, we're going to head south to Tempe, just across the Salt River where the Rio Salado project is. Now, the area of Tempe is old. A lot of the homes are much older than you will get in many of the other suburbs across Phoenix. So with that being said, people are also doing the same thing in Tempe that they're doing in Arcadia. They're taking old buildings, old houses, gutting them, and then modernizing them. That would also include the infrastructure like the water pipes, the sewage, and the electric. Obviously, with these newer builds, you're going to get fiber optic, which you did not have with a home built in the 60s. They're also building apartments in the Rio Salado area right there on the waterfront of Tempe Town Lake. This is also where Arizona State University is. So several Silicon Valley corporations have set up some companies right here on the waterfront to recruit from Arizona State. All right, next up, we're going to head out to West Phoenix to Verrado. Now, this is North Buckeye, north of the I-10 at the base of the foothills for the White Tank Mountains. This area is actually one of the best communities in all of Phoenix Metro. It's modern, it's new, it's trendy. People move out here because it's also green. It's like an oasis in the middle of the desert. Lots of golf courses. They even have a Four Seasons resort. Now, this is not something you would expect from West Phoenix because it's something you would typically find in Scottsdale. Speaking of Scottsdale, let's head all the way across town now to the east side of the valley to Scottsdale and take a look. Now, Scottsdale is a large suburb, even bigger than Tempe in terms of population and size. It goes north to south, so you have North Scottsdale, you have Old Town Scottsdale, and then you have East Scottsdale towards the McDowell Mountains. So there's several different areas that you'll want to check out, but those three right there. And even in between North Scottsdale and Old Town, you have Kierland, and you also have McCormick Ranch and Gainey Ranch area that you might want to look at. If you're into nightlife and going out, you're going to find a more vibrant scene in Scottsdale than you would in some of the other areas across Phoenix Metro. And next up, we're going to head southeast to Queen Creek. Now, this is an area that I used to personally live, well, Santan Valley actually, but it's very new, modern. It's up and coming. They still don't really have a freeway system that works to get out to Queen Creek, which is unfortunate because it's growing so fast. But they are building these very large surface streets that do the job for now. But Queen Creek, definitely up and coming place at the base of the Santan mountain range. Now, the difference between a place like Queen Creek and Arcadia, say, is the quality of the builds. Out here, some would say they use toothpicks to put these buildings up, but basically what that means is they build the structures out of wood framing, and then they stucco it, and that's what it is. Whereas in Arcadia, you might actually find block or brick builds, so you have more of that custom build feel in Arcadia, an older community. But in the Queen Creek area, they still have several of these ranch style homes where you have property and horses, or maybe an orchard or a farm. So Queen Creek is kind of a mix between these brand new building communities and then the old ranch style home. All right, next up, we're headed over to one of the most expensive zip codes in all of Phoenix Metro and Arizona, Paradise Valley. Now, they say the average median home cost is over $1 million, so north of $1 million, sometimes even $1.5 million. But you could see why. This is an older community. Paradise Valley gets its name because the people who first laid eyes on it thought, wow, what a beautiful place. It's just north of Camelback Mountain and just south of North Phoenix, really. So it's almost a part of Phoenix, and if you really wanted to get technical, you could almost call it Scottsdale. Very similar to Arcadia, in fact. All right, now we're going to head north to a community by Del Webb known as Anthem. When this was built in the early 2000s, it was considered the most impressive master plan community in all of the United States. Some would say that Anthem might just be the most ideal place to raise a family in the Phoenix metro area, along with a couple other places like Gilbert. Anthem's going to rank right up there as a very family-friendly place. If you're single, you might not like Anthem, but if you have a family of 2, 3, or 4, Anthem might just be for you. And speaking of Gilbert, let's go take a look at this premier Phoenix suburb. Some would say this is ultimately the best bang for your buck and a great place to raise a family. The sports teams for high school almost always make it to the championship games. Just a really good, solid lifestyle to be had out in Gilbert. Gilbert's actually right next to Queen Creek, so you do have some of these similar communities like Power Ranch, Morrison Ranch. There's also the Cactus Parks. The one thing that Gilbert has that Queen Creek doesn't have is the freeway system, but some people would say that Queen Creek at one point will be even better than Gilbert because it's going to be exactly like it, but built better, having learned from the mistakes that Gilbert made. We'll see about that. All right, next up we're going to highlight Mesa, but because Mesa is the largest suburb in all of the United States with over 500,000 people, we're going to have to zero in on a specific area of Mesa, and for the most part, I would say Eastmark is the new Anthem of Phoenix. It's much larger, it's part of the tech corridor. Now, it's a great place to raise a family, but there's also something else that Mesa has. It has a 55 and older area. There's Western Acres Mobile Park. So if you're into 55 and older communities, Mesa's going to have them, and they're going to be really affordable when in comparison to a place like Sun City or Sun City Grand is going to be much more expensive senior living. Mesa has more affordable senior living. And speaking of Sun City, as you can see, we have Sun City, Sun City West, Sun City Grand, lots of lakes, lots of golf courses, retirement communities, mobile home parks. Sun City is the place for retirees, people who want to get in there and learn about relaxation. I mean, Florida and Arizona are the two places people go to retire typically. And the whole point is to relax, not be stressed out. All right, next up on the list, we're going to actually head down south to Estrella Mountain Ranch. Now, this is an area in southwest Phoenix by Goodyear. I would say you get Scottsdale style homes and living out here without Scottsdale prices. So that's what you get in Estrella Mountain Ranch. I would definitely take a look at this area. All right, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Living in Arizona Now. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider liking the video and subscribing to this channel if you enjoy all things Arizona. We'll see you on the next one.